Good evening, and thank you for joining us this evening. We want to do a rebroadcast of our Christmas program, Christmas Comes to Pleasant Hill. Our hearts was blessed a couple weeks ago through this program, and we hope that tonight you are blessed once again as well. Thank you so much for joining us. God bless you, and I hope you've had a Merry Christmas.
Eden replanted. That's what the folks at Pleasant Hill had called their little shell place for nearly 100 years. They all took pride in their town. Each yard carefully manicured and kept with tender love and care. Yes, the people were fanatical about the looks of their garden spot. That's why Bertha was such a problem. Every garden has its thistle, and there was Bertha planted right in the center of Pleasant Hill. Bertha Wiley, a matter that was brought up at every meeting of the town council.
Her out of town.
Can't do that, Charlie. She ain't done nothing.
Ain't done nothing. Ben, how can you stand there, the mayor of this beautiful town, and say she ain't done nothing?
Still, she ain't done nothing we can arrest her for, much less run her out of town. That place is hers. Bought for, paid for, and probably before most of us was.
Ben, when's the last time you walked by that there jungle she calls a yard? Why, I think we could just arrest her for scaring our kids.
Yeah, I'm afraid to walk by there myself. I mean, I'm afraid somebody's going to, some jungle animal's going to jump out and get me.
Still, we can't just arrest the lady because her yard looks like a...
Bertha Wiley's no lady. She's a thistle.
A bramble.
Yeah.
An overgrown crab tree.
Now. Calm down, all of you. I know how you feel, but we can't just arrest her or run her out of town. She owns that place good and legal. Now, we best get on with matters we can settle.
Bertha Wiley was not the town's favorite daughter, to say the least. On the other hand, her brother, Pastor Zeb Wiley, was just the opposite. He had led the flock at Pleasant Hill for 25 years and had been a good shepherd. How he and Bertha could have come from the same mold was a real puzzle to the townfolk. And just as they lived at opposite ends of the town, their personalities were opposite, like a dove and a vulture. Nevertheless, Zeb's love and concern for his sister never weakened, even though she not only avoided him, but criticized him and mocked him with every opportunity.
Ridiculous, that's what it is. Wasting all his time telling the world about that good place up yonder, and him living like a poor man down here. He ought to quit that preaching and go to making a real living to support that youngin' he wanted me to help him raise. Well, I ain't helping no man who won't help himself, not even my brother. All that good stuff he keeps talking about, like love and things like that. Well, I'll tell you, there ain't no such thing in this world or the next, if and there is any next.
So, when Pastor Zeb became ill and he knew the Lord would soon call him home, it made things very difficult for him, especially concerning his only child, Maggie. Such times test a man's faith and his work, but the fire does not consume the gold.
Maggie.
Yeah, Pa?
Oh, Maggie, what a gem you are. You know that your name means pearl?
Yeah, Papa, you told me before, but I like to hear it.
Do you know why your mama named you that?
Why, Pa?
Because pearls take a long time to form.
Oh,
A long time, kind of like digging up a diamond and cutting and polishing it. It's like waiting and waiting, and finally one day, there it is, glistening white. Sometimes it takes the pearl can mean death to the oyster.
oh I know, Papa.
No, I do know that you don't have to talk about it. No, I do know, Maggie. When your mama died, right after you were born, she told me, just before the Lord took her, she said, Zeb, we waited 12 years for our pearl, and it was worth it. I know she'll give you all the love I would have given you. She's special. Oh, the Lord took his time, but she'll be worth the wait. And you have been, honey. I only wish that she, your mama, could have lived to see.
Pa, don't you think you ought to get some rest? I mean, all this talk, and here you are.
Oh, I gotta talk to you, Maggie. I'm not going to hold on anything back, because we both know the Lord's saying my time's up. My labor's done. I'm going to be going home now.
Pa, I know.
There's something else we got to settle. I think we both know what that is, right?
Yeah, Aunt Bertha.
Well, you know, we've talked about her, your Aunt Bertha, and we've prayed for her and tried to show her we love her. But
Pa, she won't show any love. She won't listen.
well, she can't hear, Maggie. You see, she's her hatred, disappointment, and just shooting down everything anyone would say to her about love. You gotta feel sorry for Aunt Bertha. Nope, you gotta love her.
But that'll be hard, Pa, because she never shows any love back.
Maggie, if there were ever good ground to plant the seed of the gospel in, it's yours. You have never doubted what I've told you, so listen to me good now, because you're gonna need this.
Okay, Pa.
Good girl. So now get me my Bible.
Here it is, Pa.
Okay, then, now take it and turn to Romans the 5th chapter.
Here it is, Pa.
Okay, fine. Now read Romans chapter 5, verse 7 and 8.
For scarcely for a righteous man will one die, yet
Peradventure, I'll explain it to you later. Now just keep reading on.
Yet peradventure, for a good man, some would even dare to die. But God commended his best love towards us, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Pa, what does
Peradventure. Well, it means possibly.
Oh,
So, do you understand what the verse is, honey?
well, I think so. I think it means that a person wouldn't die for another person, even if that person was a very good person.
Okay, good. But
Maybe, possibly, he might.
when did Christ die for us, Maggie? Or to put it another way, when did God show his very best love for us?
While we were sinners.
And do sinners love God?
No, that's why they're sinners.
So the love comes first, and that changed the sinner. You see, that is the way it is, Maggie. And as young as you are, you're going to have to understand that. Your Aunt Bertha is not a loving person. And it has to be your love to her.
But Pa, she never shows any.
Hey, remember the verse, Maggie. God showed his love for us while we were sinners, unloving.
But Pa, he's God. He can do that. I'm just me.
Maggie, is Jesus God?
Yeah, Pa.
And where is he if you know him as your Savior?
He's in me.
Good girl. Now let's turn to Philippians chapter 4, verse 13.
Here it is, Pa.
Okay, read it.
I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me.
All things, Maggie. All things.
I'll try, Pa.
You can do it, Maggie. With his strength, you see your Aunt Bertha is like that yard of hers. There are a lot of things that needs to be taken out, weeds and thorns and brambles, but anything can be done to make it more beautiful. You see, once the weeds are gone and the seed needs to be planted, it's a big job for such a youngin'.
Pa, I'm 13.
Yeah, and many years beyond that in your love and understanding, but you got to use it, Maggie. Don't get discouraged. Remember where your strength comes from, and it will never run out.
Okay, Pa.
Good. Now, I think I ought to get some rest. I'm getting a little tired.
Good afternoon, Maggie.
Hello, Mr. Waddles.
How's your paw?
Oh, pretty good, I think. He's awfully tired and sleeps a lot.
Well, that's not all bad. Man needs sleep to keep your strength up. Anything me or the missus can do for you?
Oh, no, thank you. But Widow Snow is taking over Pa right now.
Oh, that's nice.
She did give me a list of things to pick up. Here it is.
All right. Well, I'll get the things together while I'm thinking of it.
Mr. Waddles,
Yep.
did you know my Aunt Bertha?
Everyone knows your Aunt Bertha.
Well, what did you think of her?
What did I think of your Aunt Bertha?
Well, Pa says that you don't think about her like most folks do, and said I ought to ask you about her.
All right. Here are the things that was on your list. Well, Maggie, your Aunt Bertha is a very unhappy lady. Yes, sir, very unhappy.
Unhappy?
Yep, most think she's as mean as a snake, but they don't know what she's been through. What they're seeing is the wall.
The wall?
Yep, the wall that Aunt Bertha has built around herself to shut people out. The people she thinks are trying to do her the more hurt. And in turn, folks just help her build it up, because they don't understand her none. Instead of trying to make a gate in the wall, they just add a few more stones. The way I see it, Maggie, somebody has to get in there behind that wall and tear down the stones from the inside.
Mr. Waddles, how long have you known my Aunt Bertha?
Since we was kids.
Was she, what
Was she as mean as she is now?
Yeah, I guess that's what I mean.
Well, let's begin by saying she was becoming that way. The other kids used to taunt and tease her something awful. Same kids that do it today.
But there aren't any kids doing it today.
Well, they're grown up now, but they ain't changed their little boy and little girl ways, and they ain't stopped a lick. Not a lick.
But didn't they tease Pa?
Yes, but it wasn't the same. He was a boy, and boys can take the teasing better. Besides, your pa was always religious, even when he was a kid.
He was?
Sure was. Nicest kid you'd want to call a friend. He took all the kidding like the rest, good-natured and all, but we always knew he was going to become a preacher, and he did. Well, that was to his good and to Bertha's ruin.
Why?
Your pa was always preaching to Bertha to turn the other cheek, do the Christian thing, But every time she would turn the cheek, someone would take a swipe at it too.
You mean they hit her?
No, not really, but they might as well have. It wasn't your pa's fault. He was trying to do the right thing. But you see, your Aunt Bertha, well, she's never been dainty like a lady. She's always been sort of clumsy. Not the sort of fellow would ask out on a date, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, the thing that brought Bertha to where she is now was a very cruel prank the boys pulled. I had nothing to do with it, and your pa neither.
What was it?
Well, I guess you're old enough to understand now. So I guess I'll tell you. The boys started talking about Bertha, and they thought it would be great sport if one of them would begin courting her, just for the fun of it. Anyways, one of the boys, they drew straws, loser had to do it, asked her to the 4th of July picnic. Bertha was so excited, she couldn't believe it. After all the kidding and teasing she got, to be asked to the picnic was the best thing that had ever happened to her. Your pa says she was like a new person, humming around the house, making up a new frock to wear and all. Shows what an act of kindness can do, even when it's done in jest.
Did she go to the picnic?
Well, she was ready when the time came, and she waited, and she waited, and waited.
And the boy never showed up?
Worse than that.
What happened?
Well, the fellow, I won't tell you his name, it wouldn't do any good. Anyway, he never showed up. And Bertha had waited all day. And as you know, Maggie, at the picnic there's always a cow judging.
Yeah, I know. The men and boys always purdy up their cows with ribbons and bows. But what's that got to do with Aunt Bertha?
Well, that evening, according to your pa, Bertha heard a noise out on the porch, sort of a scurrying and a laughing, and they went out to see what it was.
What was it?
Well, the boys had put up a big sign on the porch with a blue ribbon attached, and the sign said, "You have been awarded the blue ribbon for Pleasant Hill's most beautiful cow."
Oh, poor Aunt Bertha. I never knew they did that.
Not many folks knew it. Your pa shared it with me because he just couldn't keep it to himself. He said that after that, Bertha turned and left the human race. When he tried to talk to her about it, she said that she would never again turn the cheek. And now she was turning her back on the whole town, and it would suit her fine if she never saw anyone's face again. Well, I'm sorry to have to tell you all this, Maggie.
Well, I'm sorry for Aunt Bertha. I wish I would have known.
Your pa's been carrying it with him for all these years, and Bertha won't even let him talk to her about it.
Or anything else. We've hardly seen Aunt Bertha. Only a few times that I can remember. Oh dear, I better get going.
Say, don't forget your things here.
Thank you, Mr.
I'll
Waddles.
just put it on your bill like always. And Maggie, tell your pa he's being prayed for.
I will. Goodbye.
So Abner told you about Aunt Bertha.
Yeah, he did, Pa. Oh, how sad.
Now you know. That good. That's good because now it will help you love her like you should.
Yeah, Pa.
Well, Maggie, I want to pray for you tonight before we go to sleep, all right?
But we always pray, Pa.
Oh, sure, I know. I just, well, never mind. Come on, give me your hand here, Maggie, and I'll do the praying for us both tonight. All right?
Okay.
Dear Lord, how I thank you for the years you've given me to shepherd this flock. How I thank you for the strength you've given me and the love you've gave through Maggie. And Lord, you said in your word, out of the mouth of babes and sucklings, you've ordained the message of love. You've taken her simple childlike faith and quieted down many a mountain. Now, Lord, she's facing the hardest thing. Let her know she's not alone. Give her your joyful wisdom, soaked with your love and understanding. Be good to her, Lord, and make her joyful and satisfied as being your child. In Jesus' precious name.
isn't it a shame?
Ain't what a shame.
Why, the passing on of Reverend Wiley. He passed on to his eternal reward.
Oh, poor man. Poor man. He was such a good man and a good pastor, too.
Why, I never saw anyone live the way they preached like Reverend Wiley did. He loved the Lord and was like he was walking with the Lord every minute of the day.
Amen.
I'm gonna miss him.
Well, I don't see how him and that sister of his could have come from the same mold.
Well, I know.
It just doesn't seem possible. They are as different as an apple and an orange.
Well, my Joe told me that at some point in life, they came to a separate fork in the road, and they both went a different direction, and it was like they just kept right on going.
Well, I can believe that for sure. Reverend Wiley was as kind as a lamb, and everything about Bertha says, "Let me be." She was like a mad bull, and the whole town was wearing red. Oh, me. Just look at that yard.
Well, in the house. Why, you think she'd have a little pride just to do
When you old crows get through picking, you can move from in front of my house. Get off of my porch before I get my broom after you. Now get!
Come on, Irma. Why we ever came this way, I'll never know.
Why, you'd think that someone who calls herself a lady would have more decency than to act like that.
Irma, please. Don't insult ladies by calling her one. Oh, poor Maggie. Poor little Maggie.
Howdy, Charlie. What can I do for you?
Well, I just stopped in to see if that new fertilizer's in yet.
Oh, no, not yet, but any day now.
Well, you've been saying that for some time now.
Oh, but it'll be worth waiting for. They say if you use the stuff right, you can sprinkle a little bit of it on your sidewalk, and flowers will go right up through the cement.
Well, I sure hope it's as good as you say it is. I sure am having to wait a long time for it. Well, give me a bag of flour and a box of salt. My wife wanted me to pick some up.
Is that all?
Well, that's all I can think of.
All right, well, I better get these things together while I'm thinking of it.
Say, Abner, have you seen little Maggie lately?
No, not since the funeral.
I wonder how she's doing.
Maggie? She'll do fine. It ain't easy losing a paw like that, but as young as she is, Maggie can handle it.
Well, she's something all right. Sure has had to face a lot in her 13 years. You know, losing her ma right after she was born, and now her pa, she's had to grow up mighty fast.
That she has, but I'll tell you something about Maggie and her pa. They had a faith, a real genuine faith. Now, I'm a believing man, but every time Maggie comes in for a visit, I feel like I've just been brought into the presence of the Lord.
You mean she preaches at you?
Oh, no need for her to do that. She's just like her pa. Things he said from the pulpit weren't no different than the things he said and did right here in the store or out on the street or anywhere. She learned the good things from his preaching, things like you and me can understand.
Yeah, I guess I know what you mean. Poor little thing. Ain't like she's ain't been through enough already, but now she's got to go live with that woman.
Oh, Bertha, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that myself. Hear tell she's moving in today.
Well, where's she been staying?
Well, the widow Snow's been staying with her to get things set up for Zeb and get her stuff together.
Bertha sure ain't gonna like this none. Too bad she's the Reverend's only living relative.
Well, Maggie could have stayed with the widow Snow, but she chose to go to Bertha's.
She chose to?
It's a fact.
Now, that's like going and choosing to sleep in a cave with a bear.
Well, now...
Now, why did she go and do a fool thing like that for?
Well, I'm sure she has her reasons. Her and her pa, I mean.
You mean he wanted her to go stay with her?
Well, you know,
that
maybe
just
not.
Doesn't make sense.
Maybe not, but then again, maybe Things is right for the first time in a long time.
Well, I think I'll leave on that one. How much do I owe you?
Well, let me total it up for you. See, 15 cents for the flour, 5 for the salt. That'll be 20 cents.
Here you are.
Here's your change. Stop back by soon, Charlie. That fertilizer should be in before you know it. Charlie?
Yeah?
Let's be saying a prayer for Maggie. She'll be needing it.
I sure will. If there ever was a prize flower put in with a thorn bush, Maggie is it. I'll see you, Abner.
Your room's at the end of the hall.
Yes, Aunt Bertha.
And get your things in there quick. I don't like no clutter.
Yes, Aunt Bertha. I'll get my things up right away.
And don't go expecting any help from me. You're on your own around here. And I ain't your servant, so don't go thinking I am.
Yes, Aunt Bertha. I can take care of things by myself.
Had enough having to put up with you without having to wait on you hand and foot. Wasn't my idea to have you here in the first place. Didn't want to raise you when you were little, and I certainly don't want to have to now.
Well, I'll try not to be any trouble, Aunt Bertha.
Trouble? How do you expect to be in my house and not be any trouble? All I wanted from folks was to let me be. You and your pa included. And now look, your pa up and dies, and I'm stuck looking after his kid.
I'm sorry, Aunt Bertha.
Don't go thinking them tears are gonna help you none, because if you think I'm feeling sorry for you, then Missy, you're thinking wrong.
I'm sorry, Aunt Bertha. I was just remembering.
And don't go starting none of that either. Running away when I'm talking to you. I got rules around here. Wasn't my idea at all. What with Zeb up and dying and everything, that ain't fair. It ain't fair. Ain't nothing ever gone right for me from courting on. Now look, stuck with a kid that ain't even mine. Breakfast at 6:30 sharp. If you ain't down, you don't eat. Stuck with a kid that ain't even mine. If that ain't some cruel joke, I don't know what is.
Good morning, Aunt Bertha. I'm here right on time, just like you said.
Good. See that you do it every morning. Now sit down. There's your food.
Thank you, Aunt Bertha.
Now, listen here, Missy. If you don't like my cooking, you can just say so and starve. But I won't have you closing your eyes wishing you didn't have to eat it.
I was only going to say grace, Aunt Bertha.
What?
I was going to thank the Lord for my food.
Don't think you can bring any of your pa's religion into this house. Now, what you think is your own business, but I won't have you talking to me about it. Do you hear?
Yes, Aunt Bertha.
Good. Scrambled eggs is all I'd cook, so you better like them.
Yeah. Oh, they're delicious, Aunt Bertha. Just the way I like them. Most people make them too dry.
Well, don't expect them to be perfect every morning. And if they are dry, you'll eat them anyway.
Yes, Aunt Bertha. Oh, Pa never let us waste any food.
Well, I don't have time to stand around here talking. As much as I hate it, I have to go down to Waddle's store. Where's that kid gone? I figured she'd still be here picking at her food. She could have been here to help me with these things I bought. Should have known that girl would be nowhere around when there was work to be done. Maggie, come here. She could have helped me with this here kitchen. The kitchen? Who cleaned up this kitchen? Well, there's not a dirty pot or plate anywhere. The table's wiped clean, the floor's swept and mopped, and the towels are all hung up.
Yes, Aunt Bertha?
Where were you?
I'm getting my things put away in my room. Oh, can I help you with the groceries?
No, I don't need no help. I've been doing things by myself all my life, and I don't need no help now. And don't think you can get on my good side by offering to do things around here for you. I don't expect no help from no one. You understand?
Yes, Aunt Bertha.
Well, hello there, Maggie. I ain't seen you for quite a spell. Is everything going all right?
Oh, fine, Mr. Waddles.
Getting along with your Aunt Bertha?
I think so, but I don't really know.
What don't you know?
Well, it's harder than I thought.
Well, how come you're staying? You know you've got other places you can stay.
But I promised Paul that I would learn to love Aunt Bertha and stay with her.
If you would have told that to anyone else, they probably would have laughed at you. But Maggie, I've got a hunch you're doing the right thing. Just as long as you can put up with it and don't come to no bodily harm.
No fear of that. Aunt Bertha is like the Jordan's big dog, Jerome. He's got a big bark, but once you get past it, he likes to be scratched behind the ears.
Well, Maggie, I think you've hit it. Just keep thinking of it that way. And if you'll pardon me for saying so, no one's tried to get past Bertha's bark yet.
I know, and I see what you mean about people who act like children around her. Like the boys who throw stones at Jerome just to make him bark more. Folks do the same thing to Aunt Bertha. Now I've got a bigger job than Paul gave me.
Well, why is that?
Well, not only do I have to get Aunt Bertha to stop barking, I've got to get the folks to stop throwing stones.
Howdy, Abner.
Hello, Sam.
Maggie, how are you doing, little lady?
I'm doing fine, Mr. Seitz.
I gotta say, I'm almost surprised to see you so chipper.
Why?
Well, living with that Aunt Bertha and all, I was thinking you would be looking a little...
All beaten up with my hair snatched up by the roots or something?
Well,
Maggie seems to be faring pretty well, don't you think, Sam?
Under the circumstances, I would say, right tolerable.
Under the circumstances, Mr. Seitz?
Well, it ain't no secret what kind of woman your Aunt Bertha is. Well, I wouldn't go live there for 30 tons of prized flower seeds.
Mr. Waddles, maybe you can take some of Sam's stones away from him. I have to hurry.
Stones?
I'll do what I can, Maggie.
Abner, what stones is she talking about?
Well, Sam, you see, it's this way.
Say, Charlie, have you been by Bertha's place lately?
I never go by that place without carrying a big stick. And I just ain't been up to feeling like carrying a big stick lately.
Well, I would have never believed it if I hadn't seen it for myself.
Believed what?
Weeds, all pulled down by the fence and the fence painted.
Are you sure that was Bertha's? I didn't even know there was a fence under all those weeds and vines.
Well, there is, and a nice little picket fence, and now gleaming whiter than winter snow.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I see little Maggie out there painting her heart out.
Now that little lady has done taken on a job she will never be able to finish. And I bet you anything, Bertha's inside with a whip making Maggie do all that stuff.
Well, no, not according to Abner. He says that she wants to do it because, she's doing it because she wants to.
And how would Abner be knowing?
Well, he's as close to Maggie as anybody, and she's in the store all the time talking to him.
Well, I've got to go see this for myself because I could use a miracle right about now.
Did you see the fence, Aunt Bertha? How'd you like what I did?
Ain't saying I do, ain't saying I don't. I'm saying it's a waste. Just doing things so them town folk will look at it and say, oh, well, how beautiful. Well, who cares what they say anyway?
Oh, well, I didn't do it for that reason, Aunt Bertha. I was just pulling weeds around it and saw it was a nice fence and thought I'd paint it.
Don't make it hold up no better, and it don't keep the snoops out no better.
That's true, but Christmas is coming, and it'll look good for that. Say, can I plant some flowers by the fence?
No.
But why not, Aunt Bertha? You said I could do what I want.
It's too late. You've got to wait till planting time next spring.
So I can plant some?
Well, do what you like. What kind?
What kind would you like?
I don't care. How about... No, never mind. Just plant what you like.
But we still have time. You can let me know. Aunt Bertha?
What?
Do you still like to sew and knit things?
I ain't got the time.
Why not?
Well, keeping up with this here house takes up all the time I've got, and now with you here, I have even less time than before.
Well, I'm helping you with the housework.
Well, it's just... Well, no, never mind. You know, I said I ain't got the time.
Pa says you used to make beautiful things.
Oh, what's your pa know? He's a man, and they know less than nothing. All of them.
He said you used to crochet and knit. He even showed me some mittens and scarf you made for him for Christmas one year. He was so proud of you.
He was proud of me?
I bet you would like it if you took it up again.
No, the trouble with you, Missy, is you talk too much. Now, I think you'd best forget all this.
But I was just...
I don't care what you just. I don't want to hear no more about knitting and sewing. Do you understand?
Yes, Aunt Bertha.
Now, you go to your room and you let me be. I don't want to talk no more. I have talked too much now.
Yes, Aunt Bertha.
And don't you be late for breakfast.
Well, now that winter's come on, we best get to thinking about the Christmas tree in the town square. You know, all the folks have been getting quite used to having it, you know, with all the goings on and stuff that comes with it. Sam, are you going to be a wise man again this year?
Unless you got some objection.
No, just as long as you stand there and don't open your mouth, because as soon as you do, everyone will know you're in the wrong part.
Oh, that's real funny there, Charlie. At least the way I can still fit in the costume. Too bad we don't have a tent maker around these parts to make up a costume for you.
Now, you see
Okay, you two. We'll never get this here Christmas stuff planned if you two keep that stuff up. Now, where are we getting the Christmas tree this year?
I found one out at Dottie's farm. Says all we have to do is come get it.
Fine. Is it a big one?
Oh, it's the biggest we've ever had. Sure is going to take some decorating, though.
Well, all we men folk gotta do is get the tree up. Then the women and children can take care of the decorating.
Ben.
I know what you're gonna ask, Charlie, and the answer is yes.
Come on, Ben. We do it every single year, and nothing's happened yet.
We go through this every year. And why do I have to keep telling you? It's written in the bylaws of Pleasant Hill. Every citizen shall have a branch of their own to hang an ornament on the Christmas tree.
But Bertha's never put one on.
Yeah, and she never will.
And because Bertha's one of our oldest citizens, why, her branch is right there in the front of the tree where everybody can see, and it bears a pumpkin every year.
Well, we can't do anything more about that any more than we can run her out of town. Now, we'd better continue this meeting.
Oh, come on, Ben. But we
All
should put it on the tree.
right. If we don't continue this meeting, we'll be here past midnight. Oh, next order of business.
I'm telling you, Abner, I don't understand why Ben takes up for Bertha the way he does.
Well, as chairman of the town council and mayor, he's got to be fair.
Well,
and he is being fair.
It ain't just about being fair. It's almost like Ben was duty-bound to protect Bertha.
Well, maybe he is, Charlie.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, it's just that some of us know things that others don't know.
Well, what kind of things?
You know, me and Ben, we know things. You know,
What
things that
kind of
Ben's got to
things?
take care of.
Well, you can't tell me that Ben has done anything wrong. That man is as honest as they come. That's why everyone elected him mayor.
Well, Ben's honest, all right. And I ain't never said he ain't. We just all got things that we need to take care of. And maybe the time's a-coming.
Well, time's a-coming for what?
Oh,
I'm telling you, Abner, sometimes you just don't make sense.
well, it makes sense to me, Charlie, and you'll find out soon enough. Anything else?
No, just the sugar.
Thank you, Charlie. Say hello to wife and kids.
Oh, Aunt Bertha, you should see the Christmas tree in town square. It's the biggest, most beautiful thing you ever saw.
A tree is a tree, and I especially ain't going to look at no tree this town puts up.
Look what I made.
What's that?
I made a manger at school to put on the tree. Me and Pop always used to put a manger on the tree to remind us of Jesus.
Didn't I tell you you weren't to bring any of your pa's religious nonsense into this house? Now, I know that you sneak to your room and you read from that there Bible you got, and I ain't said nothing because you ain't said nothing to me. And that's the way I want it.
But Aunt Bertha...
We've been getting along pretty good since you come, mainly because you've been minding me and minding your own business. Now look, maybe you think this here's your town, but it ain't mine. I should have left years ago, but I stayed, thinking that if I just let people be, they would do the same. That worked pretty good, up till now. Till you come. Now I got folks poking around, looking for you, asking after you. I've got snoopy old dames coming in, trying to bring things by for you, like I ain't doing nothing for you. I've even got people offering to shovel the snow off my walk, like I can't do it myself. They won't let me be.
But Aunt Bertha, they're just trying to be nice.
It's too late for that, and they don't mean it anyway.
But they do, Aunt Bertha. I know they do.
Uh-huh. They've got something in mind. It won't be long, and I'll have a sign on my porch like always.
Aunt Bertha, don't you think people can change?
Mm-hmm. They can change from mean to meaner. That's the way they are.
Oh, Aunt Bertha, I wish you could just...
Could just what? Go on and say it, Maggie. Could be sweet and loving like the rest of the folks in this town.
No, I didn't mean that.
I know what you meant, and I know what you're thinking. You ain't no different than the rest of them, even if you are my brother's kid. I was almost thinking you were, but now as I see you ain't. You don't care a speck for me no more than the rest. You've been talking to people about me.
I haven't been talking to anything.
Tell me that. I've got folk talking to me, offering to do things for me. Can I carry your groceries for you, Miss Wiley? Can I cut your wood for you, Miss Wiley? Kids and grown-up folk alike, they won't let me be.
But Aunt Bertha, they're just trying to help.
I don't need no help. I told you, I've been here all my life by myself, and I like it that way. And I don't aim to change for you or nobody else.
But Aunt Bertha, we're not trying to change you. We're just...
You listen here, Missy, and you listen good. I don't want no more of this around here. I know that you've been talking about me because I had a visitor today.
Who?
Ben Avis.
Mayor Ben?
Uh-huh. Pleasant Hill's most honest, trusted citizen, Mayor Ben. But that title don't mean nothing to me. The Ben I know is the Ben who got together with a group of boys all those years ago and decided to play a trick on a little ugly farm girl that they thought was as purty as a cow.
That was Mayor Ben?
Mm-hmm. He came crawling up here practically on all fours, telling me the Lord told him he ought to ask for forgiveness for what he'd done.
Aunt Bertha, can't you see that he really wants you to forgive him?
No. He's just setting me up for another joke, like always. And him coming in the name of the Lord that your pa used to always talk about. Well, this is what I think about all that stuff that your pa tried to get me to believe. Now, give me that.
Aunt Bertha, you snatched the manger!
Mm-hmm. That's right. And I mean, I won't have no more of that in this house.
Aunt Bertha, how could you be so mean? That was for Pa and me.
Go ahead and call me mean. It ain't no worse than what they have been calling me for years. This is the worst time of year, Maggie. It just makes folks bigger hypocrites than ever, and I won't have no part of it. With its lights and its pretty trees and its Jesus. And if you don't like it, you can go live somewhere else. I don't care.
I tried, Mr. Waddles. I really did.
There.
It's so hard to love someone when they say and do such awful things to you.
I know, Maggie. I was really surprised that you were able to stay as long as you did.
Well, I thought things were going pretty good. Aunt Bertha was starting to talk to me and even letting me help her out now and then. I just don't know what happened.
Well, if, like you said, Ben went up to see her, it must have stirred up some pretty bad memories for your Aunt Bertha.
I know, but Mayor Ben was trying to make things right.
Yeah, and that's how things ought to be. But it's been a right good while since them boys did that to your Aunt Bertha. Some things just gotta settle in.
What do you mean, settle in?
Well, take hold like. Bertha's gotta have some time to think about what's been happening. You see, since you've been going around telling folks how to straighten up things between them and Bertha, they've been responding to that. But Bertha doesn't rightly know how to respond. Ain't no one been nice to Bertha for a long time. You know, we've got the sugar in the tea. Now we just got to stir it and let it settle.
I wish she wouldn't have made me leave. I could have done some more if I had stayed there.
Well, maybe so, and maybe not. Could be that she just needs some time to be by herself. That's when a body makes up their mind about things.
Well, since I wasn't going to be there for Christmas, I did leave her a present and a note.
Was it those knit needles you had me order?
Uh-huh. She was acting like she might start up knitting again. I left them on the kitchen table along with a note to let her know I was coming to your place to stay. Oh, I hope I did the right thing.
Oh, sure. We told you that if you needed a place to stay, you were always welcome to stay with us.
I put something in the note, and I hope she won't take it the wrong way.
Well, what was it?
I said that even if she didn't love me, I still really do love her. Mm-hmm. And that I wasn't mad that she wanted me to leave. Only sad. And that this is what really Christmas is all about.
Yes.
Because that's the way God loves us. And that's why he sent Jesus in the first place. Even if most of the world didn't want him. And I told her my love, just like her gift, is hers to keep or to not.
Well, well. You know, Maggie, you couldn't have made the message of Christmas any plainer. You know, you could have been your pa standing right up there in the pulpit. Let's me and you just say a prayer for your Aunt Bertha right now, and then the missus has some hot chocolate waiting for you in the kitchen.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Okay, guys, Mrs. Wiley's house is the last stop of the day.
Do we have to sing to her? She's the meanest lady in town. Well, my mom said that Miss Wiley about swung her broom at her the other day. Well, I heard that she has traps in her yard, and if you step into her yard, snap, she'll get you.
Okay. It's Christmas. Everybody deserves a little bit of happiness and cheer.
Even the meanest lady in town?
Yes. Now, turn around, smile, and sing.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing.
Merry Christmas!
Shoot, we survived, and I didn't even see any traps. Are you sure? Miss Jones! Miss Jones!
prepare him room. The only thing that there's been room for in my heart these last few years is how much I hate this town and how badly I want the people in it to just let me be. That is until Maggie came. She reminds me so much of my dear brother Zeb. I can see it in her eyes. Lord, it's been so long since I've talked to you. Ever since Maggie came, I've found myself fighting the urge to talk to you. She had to go and change everything. I've been so angry and bitter, but I think it's time. Time that I lay it all down and turn my heart over to you, Lord. Lord, I can't do this without you. I give you my anger and my bitterness from all these years. Come into my heart, dear Jesus, and forgive my sins. I need your joy for living. In your name, amen.
Well, I gotta say, it's a real beauty. Best looking tree we've had yet. Sure was nice of the Daughtys to let us have it.
By the looks of things, it looks like we're gonna have a very special Christmas. I mean, just look at these decorations, Charlie. You know, I think folks have outdid themselves this year.
Yeah, it sure is a beauty.
Just look at that star, gleaming as if there's no tomorrow, just like it has for many a Christmas. I know for me it's more like Christmas. It's like a load's been lifted inside.
Now, we all know what you've done, Ben, and I just want to say that I think you did the right thing. I guess we've all been just carrying on this kid stuff with Bertha for way too long. And well, you just set the pace for all of us to put things in the right place.
Well, Maggie and the Lord did it for me.
Maggie?
Well, sure. She's the one that told me what I ought to do. Yeah, that gal sure got a lot of her pa's love and wisdom. Makes me wonder why I went all these years, and me being the mayor of this town.
Well, I just want to say, like, we all know what you've done, and we sure are sorry that Bertha ain't responded yet.
Yeah, I know. But when it comes right down to it, we've done what we could. We've got to leave the rest up to Bertha and the Lord. Charlie, do you see what I see?
Well, see what? I
Right
don't see
there,
nothing.
right there in front of the tree.
Well, I'll be.
I've got to go tell Maggie.
Aunt Bertha, can I come in?
If and you want.
I made some cookies, and I wanted you to have some.
Oh, well, you can put them here on the table.
Well, I hope you don't mind me coming over. it is Christmas Eve, and I thought that maybe
How
we could...
come you ain't down by the tree like the rest of the folks? That's where they all go on Christmas Eve, ain't it?
Well, yes, but
Then
I
that's
just...
where you ought to be. Instead of shut up in some house with a grumpy old woman who everyone says don't care for Christmas.
If I thought that, then I wouldn't be here.
Maggie, what are you talking about?
Well, Ben came and got me and showed me the beautiful ornament that you put on the tree. I never seen such a lovely ornament.
That don't mean a thing. I just took them there knitting needles you got me and I tried something, and once I was done, there was nothing left to do but hang it on that there tree.
Well, people really think it's pretty, and they know you put it there. Aunt Bertha, I wish you could just...
Maggie, before you say anything else, I got you something.
For me?
I ain't saying it's a Christmas present, I'm just...
Oh, Aunt Bertha, they're beautiful. Mittens and a hat.
I ain't finished with the scarf yet. I need some time. I've gotta have some time. And stop that sniffling. You know I don't like that.
I'm sorry. It's just that you made me very happy.
Maggie, well, this isn't easy for me to say, and I'm only gonna say it once, so you just listen.
I'm listening.
I ain't quite sure how I feel about a lot of things. Things have been the same for so long. But I do know that you brought something different to me, and I wasn't quite sure I knew what to do with it. But after the kids in town came, I had a talk with the Lord for the first time in a long time. I asked him to come into my heart and started changing me. Your pa had been after me for years to talk to the Lord, but I just wouldn't do it. There was so much anger and bitterness, but after getting so tired of carrying that load all these years, I figured it was time to give it to the Lord. Now, Maggie, this isn't easy for me to say, but I missed you, and if you'd like, I'd like for you to come back home.
Oh, Aunt Bertha, that's wonderful. I'm so happy that you asked Jesus to forgive you. You know, I left my bags packed and prayed every single night that you might ask me back. Excuse me, I know you don't like my sniffling, but I can't help it. Oh, Aunt Bertha, Jesus saved you. Oh, I love you. Can I give you a hug?
If and you want.
Merry Christmas, Aunt Bertha.
Merry Christmas. So long I had searched for